Hey everybody. Today we're going to go over Bluehost, and why you should look at Bluehost, the pros and cons of Bluehost. Is it a hosting provider that's going to work for you, for your blog or your website or whatever you're doing? And we're going to check that out and see if Bluehost is the right for you, right? You can check in the description. We'll have a link to Bluehost. If you stay to the end, we're going to kind of review uh, another different hosting provider that may be a better option for you for speed and for cost effectiveness. We're going to give you a different option. Now, I know this is a Bluehost review, but at the end we're going to share more information with you on the research we've done to show you, you know, the two options. So the one that we think may be better for you, and this option, because Bluehost is used by a lot of people. If you look and you go out and you look at all the recommendations, different people are like, oh, Bluehost, Bluehost, Bluehost. But we're just going to give you the skinny on why we think people use Bluehost, what Bluehost actually has to offer you, and an alternative, okay? Now, when you first start out, you need a domain name, right? So that's the first thing you're going to need when you do this. Personally, I use Namecheap. You can buy your domain here. Just go into domains. You'll get this. You can go in here and click and try to find a domain. You can use nameboy.com to go around and try to figure out a name that's open that would fit your website that you can buy. And then what I do is, like I said, I use Namecheap. This is the one I use. I go in here, find the domain name I want, register it. It's usually not very much. It's like $7.98 for a .com, or $8 or $9 depending on the .com you get. And then the yearly renewal may be a little bit higher, but not much, like 11, $12 or something. And that's who I use. You can use whoever you want. I'll have it in the description if you want to check it out, but that's up to you. But if you look over here at Bluehost, they have WordPress hosting. So if you have a WordPress site, which a lot of people build their websites with WordPress, then you've got shared hosting. That's where you're sharing servers with other people. Dedicated hosting, which is you're going to be buying a server that you're the only one on it. Like it's dedicated to you. This specific server is going to be dedicated to you. That's if you have a website, like let's say you're making $5,000, $10,000 a month with a affiliate website. You definitely want some kind of dedicated hosting. You do not want to share your hosting with other people. But when you're first starting out, you can do shared hosting or you can do WordPress hosting. It doesn't really matter. I do VPS hosting with a different provider um, just because of the plan and the way it was set up, and I've been there for a while, so I just use them. But VPS hosting's good. It just depends on what you're looking for, right? Virtual private servers is what that stands for. But what we're going to do is we will um, look at the WordPress hosting. Okay, so if you come down here, hosting built to boost WordPress websites, right? So a lot of these providers, not only, Bluehost, but all the other ones, they provide one-click install for WordPress, right? So when you get into this, you set up your domain, go to the hosting, set up your hosting. Once you set up your hosting on whatever plan that you think's best fits you, basic plus, choice plus, then you go inside and then you look in the admin area, and they'll have like, hey, one-click install for WordPress, and then you just click download WordPress. It downloads to your server, to your site, makes the WordPress backend for you, and then they'll send you a username and login so you can log in, and then you can get into WordPress and start building your website. We have a whole video on that. You can check out our video on how to build your WordPress website, right? But if you look here, here's the basic plus and choice plus. You need to look at what they offer you. If you only have one website, maybe you just want to do the $3.95 one. If you have a couple different websites you want to host on the same one, and you want to do the unlimited plan for $5.95. Now remember, $3.95 and $5.95, that's the first year discount. If you look, they are normally going to charge you $11.99. after this 36-month term, right? And the other thing they do is, let's say you select this and you want to do the $5.95 a month, and it's for a 36-month term. They will charge you for 36 months, so you have to pay for 3 years. So that's one of the things I don't like. You can't pay monthly $5.95. You have to pay for 36 months to get the $5.95. So let's say you start a blog and then after a year you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Now you got 2 more years of hosting you paid for, and you know you basically don't use them or it's useless to you anymore. So so make sure if you're going to do a 36-month term that you're going to stick with it for at least 3 years, right? They offer you unlimited websites, unlimited SSD storage. They offer you, so over here on this plan, it's only 50 gigabits of storage, right? And, I don't see the bandwidth on here, so I'd be interested on what their bandwidth is. But that's something you can check on, but you want to make sure it has unlimited bandwidth too. And as you can see here, auto renews at regular rate, which is the $11.99. But Bluehost is very popular. A lot of people use them for their WordPress websites. $5.95 is not too bad a month. $12. After the 36 months, that gets kind of expensive, but compared to some other providers and what more they offer you. One thing with Bluehost is they have their uptime is like 23 minutes of downtime they'll have, right? And that's a little bit more downtime than you would want. It's not super bad, but it's not great, right? The other thing is another one that I don't like about Bluehost is it's 4 seconds speed. So if if you look at all the tests online, their average is about 4 seconds load time, right, for your pages to load. Now, there's a lot of things that play into part. What's your theme? Is your theme built right? How much have you optimized all your images when you're building your website? All these things make your website slow if you don't know what you're doing, right? And it could slow down your website for loading. But hosting is a big part of that. And if you have hosting that's not great, it's going to slow your website down. Slower your website, the more likely people are to click off of it. More people click off of it, the more Google's going to be like, oh, we're not going to rank your stuff because people aren't staying long enough to read it. And your stuff won't get ranked. So you have to have fast page speeds. 4 seconds is too long. Needs to be under 2 seconds or 2.5, right? The lower you get, the better. And the backup isn't great on Bluehost. You've got the uptime, 23 minutes downtime throughout a month. That's too long. So there's just some things that we don't like about Bluehost. The cost isn't too bad, but it's not the most economical compared to what you get. Their storage is pretty good. That storage is pretty good for the plan that they're giving you as far as cost goes. And so, that's one of the things you're just going to have to figure out is is Bluehost really going to be a good one for you? At the start, it might be. Maybe you just say, hey, I'm just going to go Bluehost. I'll come down here and do the $5.95 plan. I'll do it for 36 months. If I can get my website up to making, $5,000, $10,000, $3,000 a month, I'll move my website to a faster hosting provider because I'm making the money, right? So Bluehost is definitely fine for that. Definitely a good plan. I mean, I use HostGator forever, and HostGator is way worse than Bluehost. And I didn't have too many problems, and I don't think I lost too many customers from it, but I never really measured it. So I just knew that they weren't that great, and I needed to move to a faster hosting provider because I couldn't get my website fast enough. And then finally, when I moved to VPS, I got my website a lot faster. My sites load quickly, in under 1.3 seconds. They load really fast. Now, what I wanted to share with you at the end is I wanted to tell you about another hosting provider that we think is just another alternative for you to look at. You can use Bluehost, no problems. You're starting out or you've been doing it for a little bit. it's a lot better than most hosting providers out there. But really, one of the better ones is going to be Hostinger, right? So this one, the most popular one, as you can see, it has a 100 gigabits of storage. You can do up to 100 websites. I don't know if I'd do that many, but it has unlimited bandwidth. Now, a lot of places say unlimited bandwidth. Whether you get that or not, you'll see, but that's what they offer, right? But this is an astronomical amount of storage. Their speeds are really good. If you looked at their speeds, I think when I looked them up, let me check real quick, they were 1.15 seconds. So 1.15 seconds, right? Compared to 4 seconds for Bluehost. Very, very, very good. That's what you want. And Hostinger's downtime is 1 minute a month, whereas Bluehost is 23 minutes. Up to 23 minutes downtime, right? That they could have where, upgrades or, working on their services or whatever they're doing monthly to their hosting servers, you have downtime. The less downtime you have, the more money you make, especially if your website's making money. So we personally would recommend if you're starting out and you want a WordPress website, you want to do, hosting that's quicker and faster and does better, we would just recommend Hostinger. It's good, fast. They offer you good speeds. It's good for growth. You can move to some of the other, hosting plans they have dedicated or whatever. If you're going to move up the ladder as your website grows and you make more money. But Bluehost is fine too. Like I said, you can use them, but for the money, this one's better at $2.99 a month. Now it would go to $7.99 a month when you renew, but if you look back here, this one's $11.99. So the cost is much cheaper for more. So that's why we personally would recommend Hostinger, even though this is a Bluehost review. We wanted to show you what Bluehost was all about and come with you at the end with a recommendation of what we think's best for you and your website and your blog, whatever you're starting. And this is what it is. We think Hostinger is really going to be the plan for you. We have it in the description. If you want to check it out and see if it's something you want to sign up for your blog or website, just go in the description and check it out. And if you can, hit the like and subscribe button.